What's up, guys? So I just won our winter tournament here in my area, and I thought I would go over my tournament winning deck. But before I do want to say that Blader 03 has a tournament going on that I'm actually a part of, and my Drawn Sword is winning. We've made it to the finals. I've made a post about it. Um, Go back to my posts and check it out because I'm going to be doing a breakdown on that drawn sword and why I chose the parts that I chose for it for that tournament because it's largely Hasbro only, Hasbro parts only. So I thought, you know what would be probably this will be the best combo to deal with a wide array of different types of bays, especially with the random angles he's integrated. So, but anyways, yeah, go ahead and check out that tournament. Again, I have the link to the semifinals in that post. But anyways, I digress. So a few things. This tournament is the first tournament that I've competed in where Drawn Sword was not my wild card and was not on my deck. So no, there won't be Drawn Sword in this breakdown, but there is a really cool bay, which I'll be saving for the end, for last, that made its way into my tournament winning deck. So first off, to start it off the deck, we have Dragoon. I was running it on 360 and Gear Ball. The efficacy of this, again, in my testing and also at the tournament, it's goated. I actually didn't run into bursting at all in the entire tournament. This thing actually handled it pretty well, handled the whole tournament pretty well. Granted, we only had half the entrance, the amount of entries that we usually have in a tournament, but they were bringing lots of Silver Wolf. I was seeing a lot of Tyranno Beat, Tyranno Roar, Phoenix Wing, Wizard Rod. Like the decks were pretty stacked, and those were the primary things that I was seeing. I saw some Samurai Saber and a lot of Elevate and Level, which I think cost most of my opponents because again they're too easy to knock out. Gear Ball lets you have some traction while still maintaining stamina, and also lets me ride the X-Rail because it was a TT Stadium tournament. Riding the X-Rail on the left side meant that most of my opponents couldn't hide, so people trying to drop and hide in the left really just didn't do well against this at all. And I didn't even have to reverse rail ride. I could just launch it towards the rail and ride it up and knock them away. So Dragoon ended up being probably one of the best counters for level on elevate. Even other Dragoons on level on elevate I rip really hard. One thing about this tournament is that I did not use a winder launcher. I stuck solely to these string launchers, and I've been practicing with them, and I've talked a bit about that in videos recently. So yeah, Dragoon was the first bay. It's a premier attacker. It's just one of the nastiest versions of Dragoon because while Elevate is easier to use, sure, it's easier to knock out. Next, we have Whale Wave. I saw a lot of Whale Wave on level, which I think, again, was part of the problem because people running this on Elevate and running this on level and Elevate was just made the same bay matchup a little easier because I was running 560 point. So why 560 point? Well, number one, point lets you drop launch. Point also has a bit of a benefit. I will say red point is different than trans point is different than this blue Hasbro point. This blue Hasbro point I notice is better a bit for defensive. And having one of the interesting things about this is as it rotates, I don't know if you could see it. One of the interesting things about it is that it kind of on a tilt, well, when it gets hit and it tilts and it rides the rail, right, and it comes around, it tends to kind of scoop and hit and knock things out. And being so heavy, we definitely wanted, I think the stamina is also better. Maybe that's why I prefer this. It's a little more defensive. I swear this Hasbro point is a little bit more defensive. Although I think the red Hasbro point is a little bit better than the TT point. But 560 helps to add it weight. Also lines up pretty well with the contact points. And point can be pretty aggressive, and kind of gives us the stamina slash aggression we need. So finally, we get to the piece de resistance. We get to what I brought as my wild card. And originally I was going to bring Draon Sword, but I always bring Draon Sword. So I decided instead to bring Crimson Garuda. Why Crimson Garuda? Well, number one, it has really good upper. I don't know if you guys can see it here. Let me see if but like Crimson Garuda has really good upper, and it's able to just kind of scoop things up and flick them. I was running it on 960 and taper because in all my testing, 960 didn't burst as much as the other ratchets. And that became a problem as well, was bursting with Crimson Garuda. I didn't burst a single time in this tournament. Except for with 560, I did burst in the mirror match of Whale Waves, because Elevate's a little lower. So I did get one burst, but we both burst at the same time. So the judge was just like, run that back. And then Crimson Garuda, why taper in 360? Again, 360 is for burst, and it does have the shape of, or 960, it does have a similar shape to 360 and functions similarly. It's not as heavy of an impact initially, so to make up for that, instead of using Transpoint, I use taper. Taper has a decent amount of stamina. Taper lets us get on a tilt, and the tip supports it because it's angled pretty well. And then on top of that, we have a lot of traction with this. It's almost a little bit like flat, but with lesser contact, and especially on a well-worn taper, like it just grips up really good, and we need that for getting KOs. Silverwolf is a problem on Hexa, and I saw a lot of Silverwolf and Phoenix Wing on Hexa. I feel like taper did better than Transpoint against Phoenix Wing, and has an easier time knocking them out because you have more traction than they do, than Hexa does. So you're scooping them and flicking them out. I also found as the coat that they put on the Beyblade, the new Beyblades wears out, Garuda gets better. And it feels like it grabs things more and smashes them out. So I've actually really started leading in the tournament with this because it was just so much better, especially with the string launcher, and having to get those really hard rips in. This loved it. This loved being ripped hard. I had to do a little bit of the Lotus stall in the center of the TT on a tilt, so that way I could rock back and forth and kind of catch a lot of because the Wizard Rod mains, I noticed we're doing a lot of stalling in the left-hand side. So what I did instead of just reverse rail stalling, because we're not the heaviest bay, and I didn't feel like this was doing as much against them. I started just waiting in the center on a tilt, again, because taper allows it, and letting it Lotus rock back and forth. You can watch my technique. It's on the channel. You can go back some videos and find it. And just kind of rocking. And then when they come in, it would collide with their bay and just yeet them either into the sidewall of the stadium or into a pocket, killing their stamina. So it was really good against Rod on Hexa and Ball. And then it was really good against Silverwolf on Hexa because, again, they just didn't have the same traction. So, unfortunately, again, this was not a Draon Sword winning deck profile, but it did feel good to win another tournament. I felt like the competition was really all gas. Like, there was a lot of Tyranno beat, Tyranno roar. I saw a lot of Tyranno beat. Tyranno beat's usage on Rush just going through. And that's another thing, too. Tyranno beat on Rush can get lifted out and knocked out by Crimson Garuda. And also, you have better stamina than Tyranno on Rush with this because you're also destabilizing them. So, and then this just knocks out everything. So we kind of had answers to everything. think the hardest thing was Silverwolf. I will say this and this struggled the most with Silverwolf, but then I would switch in to Whale Wave, and that would just stop. Like, Whale Wave easily deals with Silverwolf on Hexa, and all the Silverwolf on balls, though, these did fine on the free ball Silverwolves. It's trash. Stop using that combo. Use Hexa. I'm sorry. Anybody out there running free ball on Silverwolf, that's fine. Like, but if you're new and you don't know what you're doing and you're wondering why you're losing, that's probably why. Grab a Hexa, throw Hexa on that. But yeah, that's why. Because there was a lot of people running free ball on Silverwolf, and it was so easy to beat them. But yeah, that's my tournament winning deck. Going forward, I am going to be taking a little bit of a break from competitive, just because, like, Samurai Saber, a lot of the new releases aren't super interesting to me. I will still be doing combo videos, test videos, etc. I just feel like it was an easier win this time than it was last time because everybody was running the same combos. There was less creativity, and it just made it easier to beat because it's like, I feel like the stagnation since Level and Elevate have come out has been problematic. I think it makes you more predictable to beat. And I think I'm noticing also, like, with the level sets, a lot of people are using it the way you would use Point. And I still think that Point is still superior because it's harder to KO. It's harder to KO. I've noticed, and this is in competitive, this is not just my testing. At this point, it's verifiable. It's too easy to knock out. Elevate bursts too much. Like, there's so many problems, and Elevate didn't do well against the low flat matchups. Like, a lot of people were running Whale Wave on low flat, and low flat Whale Wave was just clapping things in the mirror match. So going forward, I think I'm going to take a little break for competitive until some more new bays release. But yeah, I really think that this was just the best deck I could have come with. And shout out again to Crimson Garuda, to Cobalt Dragoon, and to Whale Wave, because this is such a fun deck to play with. I could not find my gear point for this, which is why I went. It's somewhere in my room. I don't know where it is. So I was going to run 360 in gear point and instead run 560 gear ball, but I got to find my gear point. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys give here on the channel. You guys have no idea how much it means to me, especially since right now, again, just at this point in my Beyblade competitive career, it's noticing the stagnation, getting to do more fun videos outside of competitive, and you guys being down with that means the world. Next up, we're going to be doing the Viper Tail video, and I'm going to be going over all the combos that I came up with for Viper Tail in my testing. And I'm super excited about that. Beat Links is already up on the channel, so I can't wait for Viper Tail, because I really like Viper Tail, and I feel like the more I've used it and tested it, it's become one of my favorites, my all-time favorites. So that's gonna do it for me. I will see you guys in the next video.